Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Hi, my name is Gregory Valentine. This is my wife, Amy.
Hi.
And we're going to talk about the movie The Mountain Between Us. We just finished watching that. Today's date is December 29th, 2017. The time is now about 4:30. And we wanted to talk about a couple of things that we liked about the movie and things that we noticed about the movie while we have, space on our drives to talk about it. So I have a little cold, so but I'm gonna talk about some of the things that we noticed in the movie. The movie starts with it's Idris Elba and Kate Winslet, and it shows their life. They're on their way somewhere, and as so happens, life takes them a whole different path, and they end up getting stuck on a mountain. And then from there, they have to figure out how to survive, from the mountain to, without spoiling anything, just pretty much how to get back to, normal life. And in the process, they learn a lot of things. So I just want to talk about a couple of things, and any thoughts that come to us. I have a little checklist I want to go through, but as things go on, we're just first thing I'm going to talk about is strangers. You know how strangers are, people who have nothing together other than they're humans. That's something amazing. And this movie showed how their friendship went from stranger to um, to close friends and survival partners, really, to further than that. Amy, you want to say anything?
I just I like that part. How basically they started as strangers, and then they just right away when tragedy hit, they were able to he was able to be such a servant and such a person that was really caring for her well-being and showed her true love and sacrifice. Uh, just it was a very beautiful movie in that way. Excuse me. Um, just knowing that he would never leave, he didn't want to leave her at all, ever,
Yeah.
to make sure that she would survive and make sure, even though she was the one um, that was injured and hurt and would slow down the process, he really did not want to leave her. And then when she did leave him because she wanted just to get out there and go, um, he recognized that, you know what, I better go go find her. I
Yeah.
better go find her because she's not gonna survive without me, and we're not gonna be able to survive without each other here. And I like that she apologized for that. That was not right for her to do. And I just like that they were just trying to help each other. And yeah, they told the truth here and there and hurt each other's feelings. But I just, I like that sacrifice. I really like the helping and the love of it all. Just between strangers and friends, becoming friends.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I agree with that. They're helping each other. There was a part where you can see where they're actually walking down the hill together
Hmm.
from the top of the mountain, and he's like holding her hand, and then they show the camera, from behind the view over their shoulder view, and then what happens is that as they're doing that, you see how far they have to go, and there's really like no hope in sight, but they're holding on to each other's hands and just being careful and minding each other, which I thought was really amazing. In this movie, there was like a lot of help. At first, it seemed like he was helping her a lot, and then he was he was a doctor, and he was a skilled surgeon, and she was a journalist and everything. And what happened in the thing was that they were on their way to their goal of getting to. She was going to get married, and he was going to go and do a surgery to help a little boy. And they were really wanting to get to their destinations, but then this plane crash happened, trying to get them to their way, and then they ended up in a situation where she's injured, and then he is kind of angry because he wants to help this patient that he has, but he realizes I have to go, and so it's a matter of helping each other. It's kind of there's a thought aspect of like saving a stranger versus someone near to you. It's like there's always that other stranger out there. We talk about this like in terms of like people and works and things. They're over there that you got to go save, as opposed to people that are right here next to you that don't need help. And this movie kind of kind of brought it in where it says, okay, those people are far away that I need to go reach, but I got people right here, right next to me that I need to spend time thinking about and really working with because I can't get to those other people out there if I'm not dealing with people that are really close to me, and one other thing too, I just thought that the whole helping aspect of the movie was that they helped each other so much, and I mean each of them got equally mutually injured throughout the movie, and then there came a part where I think about secrets, what did you take on secrets? What do you thought about the secret aspect of the movie, like different secrets, honey?
Well, I mean, he didn't want to share his about his wife. I mean, he was a doctor, a specific kind of doctor that couldn't help his own wife. And, she passed away. And so that aspect is like he felt like he just couldn't help her, and he felt really sad about that and upset that here it is, he's a specialty brain doctor. His wife gets brain cancer, and he can't save her life. And I guess he didn't want to talk about it. And in the late, Kate was very prying and nosy in a way, and
No, she
basically,
kept on asking. She kept on asking in
yeah,
different ways,
because
wanted to get
you know,
inside, but
because I mean, just knowing people, you want to get to know them better. And if he was married, he didn't hardly talk about it, and so it was a sad aspect in his life.
yeah, it was a secret he kept well. And then also, I mean, they were in a situation of survival, so it's kind of like you use anything you can just to keep, the other person sane and
Occupied,
occupied, keep your mind working,
yeah.
because you're in a really dire situation,
Like, talk about yourself, talk about these stories, because we got time on our hands, and keep your mind clear about trying to get out of here and survive, and everything. I mean, it was a I didn't like, some of the aspects of it, like, you know the fornication part of it all. But he was a widow, and she was not yet married, but still, but I understand the aspect of feeling like you're gonna die, and like, this might be my last love or something, my last human
relationship,
connection
yeah,
with
human connection with
someone.
somebody, and they
And
really cared about each other at that point.
yeah, they
It was
really,
like,
really fell in love with each other. And
right,
he was a widow, so he was clear to love someone else.
and
And she was not,
engaged, but
she's
she
not
wasn't,
officially married to anybody, so she
right.
was free to love somebody else. So in that way, like, you know,
Yeah, I thought about how the writers must have had to think that through, because I mean, like so much movies they have where people compromise and they do things that they shouldn't have. They already married and things like that, and they get in a
yeah,
relationship. But in this one, they were they were that clear zone, where they
I
not
know,
that they
but
should get involved in anything anyway, because I mean, that we hold to that, save it before you get married, save it until you get married, you know,
save sex
save
until you
sex
get
until you get married.
married.
And so what happens is that when on the wedding day is when you get the green light from everybody to go ahead and have a
Yeah,
relationship. So like in this movie, there was an aspect of they bonded and behind they
mm,
bonded and they got into a relationship, and then they continued on to try to get back to civilization. And
that's the part.
this is interesting about the movie that I thought was very interesting too. There was a staying and versus going. I don't know about anybody, but if you're in a situation where in a plane crash, in a situation where it's you run out of supplies where you are, where they were, there was no food. There was no food. Food came to them in one way, and they were able to eat. Another situation was that they couldn't stay in the airplane, the crashed plane. They had to leave, and then they had to keep going because they didn't know if any way they would turn would open up a new venue for safety. They had to find another shelter before it got too cold or too windy. And the lady was like, "We gotta go," and he was like, "No, we gotta stay. They're gonna be rescued," and nobody came to rescue them. So she stayed long enough to listen to his advice, but then it didn't happen that way. And as a matter of like staying and going, it's kind of like letting go of what you hold strongly to be able to, try something different for your own survival. And so they went through one location, another location, another location, And then, then in the back of my mind, and what do you think about that with the in terms of the, staying versus going?
Well, I could understand what she was thinking, you know. I can understand what she was thinking. The antsiness of, like, should we stay? Should we leave? Are they gonna find us if we stay? Are we gonna find somebody if we leave? It's like a balance of, like, how long do we stay there? How long do we, you know what I mean? So, and also because of her injury, and I mean, he almost died, like falling down the hill into the, almost fell down and hurt himself, like totally killed himself actually, almost. And so he was very scared about that, doing that again. And plus she was injured, so he was like, I don't really know if this is a good idea, but I don't know. I mean, there's there's so many things to the movie, really. I mean, you want to talk about anything about that?
Towards the ending? Yeah,
Yeah,
we can
I want
talk
to
about
get to the
that.
ending.
Well, I mean,
Well, like,
before we get there,
yeah,
there's an aspect of like going and staying, and it was how long could you just stay in one location before you run out? I used to watch a show on Discovery, and a lot of people would watch it, and they were survivalists, and they would survive 21 days without any food and water and clothing, and you know the name of the show. And and so what happened was that they would survive, and they came a point where there was one they did the show did an extreme version, which was 40 days, and what happened was that they ran out of food, and they had to go find food in another location. And this situation was very similar because they had to go find food and shelter and safety, and you know they got injured, just being out there in the snow. And one thing they said that I thought was really really amazing was when they said that God made our bodies to adapt, and so we can adapt to a situation. But one thing I learned about the whole movie was about the mindset, and in the back of my mind, about the mindset, I'll say that part kind of clear, about the mindset of what is the survival, and then the fact that our body can survive. But in the back of my mind, there was an aspect of, you know what, there's another challenge if they get back to civilization, because what does that mean in terms of their relationship? I remember watching a movie, and they said about something. I think you've all seen this movie too. I'm not going to say the name of it, but no, I'll say why not. In the end of movie Speed, there was a part with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves were like saying about like how the relationship won't last. Relationships that start in crisis situations don't last because it was a crisis situation that forged them. And I think about my relationship with Amy and how our relationship was formed. We were formed not in crisis but in friendship. You know, we were forged in friendship, and we became friends before we got into any relationship and courtship and engagement and marriage and all that. So we were friends first. So the thing was like, in the situation, they were all afraid of what would happen. I was afraid for them. What would happen if they got back to society now? Is society gonna mess with their mind? Are their lives gonna take over and put them back in their shell where they were before, and they go back to being strangers again? What do you think about that, honey?
well, I know that this guy was mourning his wife, losing his wife. He was mourning his loss. Then he found this girl, and they went through this trial and tribulation together, and they came together, and they grew to love each other and sacrifice for each other and to survive together, and then they actually were able to really serve one another and make sure one another survived. And I just thought, when they got to the hospital, it was up to her basically to, at the end, with his injury, he got injured very badly. And with his injury, she had to take all the might within her to get somebody to rescue him. And basically, they both were in the hospital, and he's out, and he realizes, oh wow, wow, let me go find her.
Yeah,
And so excited, like, wow, we made it, we got to the hospital, we made it, we're
we
alive.
survived. We survived together. We
And
made it.
the feelings that he had before him getting hurt, and then all those feelings for all that month or what, however long, he loved her, and she loved him. but yet it was like, shocker, it's real life now.
Back
Like,
to real life.
you can't show feelings, you can't show love to her anymore because now her boyfriend's there, and he like didn't even show really appreciation to the man for rescuing his girlfriend. Like, a hug would have been nice. It became very cold.
Yeah.
Like, it became cold, a cold hospital like behavior, and she wasn't like really wanting to hug him too much, and he wanted to come and hug her
Yeah.
and like, be like happy with her that they survived, and then the boyfriend was there, and it was so cold, like a cold-hearted situation. And just go from all that warmth of love and caring for each other,
And
and then
survival.
in survival and really being united, and then to this cold, superficial life.
Yeah.
Like, and he was basically like shocked. I think he was very shocked
He was gonna
about
snap back into
like
reality.
like, stop sign, stop right now,
Yeah.
stop,
Go back to your corner of the world.
go back to your cold life.
Yeah, go back to what you're doing. And that's another thing too, because after they went through the situation together, their lives changed. They couldn't. He was no longer a surgeon.
Yeah, he suffered
Damage.
frostbite
Mm-hmm.
from his fingers, and he was a brain surgeon, so he wasn't able to go back to his brain surgery. And so brain surgery surgeon, and basically she couldn't take the realities of
flying
anymore. She couldn't take the realities of anything that was warlike kind of things, or a lot of traumatic kind of experiences with her photography and her being a reporter. She couldn't take that anymore, so her life changed. And also she couldn't be participating in all these things that didn't really mean that much to her anymore, with fundraisers and this and all this pomp and circumstance of getting married, and she didn't want to get married to the guy anymore.
To the first guy that she was gonna get married to.
Yeah, she didn't want to, the one that she was going on the airplane to go and meet, to go get married. She didn't want to do that anymore. She said, the guy's a nice guy, but I just can't marry him.
It was like the trauma that they went through.
They went through a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
And also, but he wasn't answering the phone. She was calling him and calling him and calling him, and he wasn't answering the phone. He wasn't apparently listening to messages.
Yeah.
And so he thought, she's married. She got married to the guy.
Yeah, it's a done deal. It's over.
So he shouldn't really, be talking with her because she's going to be married. And but yet, they could be friends and talk together and try to work out their problems together of, dealing with the trauma. But, and then she sends him pictures, and then that's kind of like what, made him think about it, and they met together.
They had lunch.
And basically she thought, like, I guess I had to, talk with you.
Just to get some closure.
That this is not going to work out, right. And he thought the whole time that she had gotten married.
Yeah.
So he had written her off because he thought she's married. But then all of a sudden she says, I didn't get married to him. And he's like, why didn't you tell me? Like, he's like, well, you don't answer your phone. Like, and then he's like, oh, wow, so you're not married, huh?
But then there's a twist to it at the end, and I don't want to completely spoil it for them. If they want to see this movie.
But I saw it as like that's exactly what they were doing in their survival situation.
Right.
Where he didn't want to leave her alone, and she didn't want to leave him alone.
Yeah.
And they wanted to survive together.
Right.
And so, like, they just came back together like they should. And it's not like a spoiler. I mean, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff already. It's like but, yeah, a lot of times in life, I just thought about the movie. It's like sometimes in life you can find one person sometimes you can't. But sometimes in your life, you might be blessed enough to find one person in your whole life, in the whole world, that will love you, understand you, and will just be happy to be with you.
Yeah.
And you are so happy to be with them.
Yeah.
In the whole world, all the people in the whole world, you found somebody that you are awesomely in like and love with.
Hmm.
That you found them through a tragedy or through circumstance and everything. I just thought that was so beautiful, and I see, like, like how I met my husband.
That we met. Yeah.
Yeah, and Greg and I, and we're going on 16 years being married.
Yeah.
Which is so wonderful, and I think, like, all the things that Greg and I have been together, and all we've been going through and have gone through, and that it's like to find one person in your life that's happy to be with you
Yeah.
and doesn't want to leave you, and you don't want to leave them,
Right.
and you keep coming back together.
Yep.
You're like, I gotta go to work. Okay, come back home. Woo, I'm happy to be home.
Yay.
I gotta go here.
Yeah.
And I come back home. Woo, I'm glad to be home.
Yeah.
And it was a nice movie in that regard. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you
They kept coming back to each other to work things out.
and he was black and she was white.
Yeah. Even
That just makes it, I don't know, just made it more,
it brings
like,
it home to us,
brought it home to us. Like,
yeah.
like,
There's a lot of movies nowadays are not so much interracial, black and white, but it's like you actually see one where this is a really, really good movie, and they came together,
I just,
together.
yeah, I mean, and the whole thing, like, the dog was such a blessing. That was so sweet too.
I thought throughout the movie they were gonna, like, eat the dog, or I thought the dog was gonna eat them. It was one of the two.
Well, yeah.
I thought the dog was gonna try and eat them, and they'd have to kill the dog, and
yeah,
or something like that. So there's gonna be a survival like that. And I mean, they were, like, in the United States, and there was no way for them to get home, and it was such a struggle. But together they did it.
Yeah, it was a real, truthful, a dedicated movie. Like, they were very good. I mean, I could be wrong, but, like, they really did a good job acting the story and the storyline. And they were very, I don't know, I just felt like they deeply cared for each other. They showed that they deeply cared for each other. And I like how, like, she's like, well, it's just a heart muscle. What idiot said that? And he was the idiot that said something like that, like, the heart.
The very end of the movie got me, and so far we've gone about 23 minutes now, so I'm just gonna close it off here. Just want to say thank you so much for listening to us and our commentary on this movie.
Again? What's
the movie's
the name?
called The Mountain Between Us.
The Mountain Between Us.
The Mountain Between Us. It came out this year, 2017. Let's see, Idris Elba and Kate Winslet are the main actors, and they have the puppy dog there too as well. And so it's very good. I've always liked watching movies because movies have a aspect of teamwork to get it completed, and I really like teamwork more than anything. So, and marriage is definitely teamwork. So if you guys are looking to be married in the future, you find somebody that's your best friend first. All right, somebody that's your friend that you work well together with, solve problems with, and there is where you go to marry that person, because that person's your friend, and it also helps to have other people point it out to you. So anyway, I want to go before we run out of time and for any kind of glitch happens. So I just want to say thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe to our page, and leave your comments below. Alrighty, so thank you again. Have a good day and have a good night, and bye from Greg
and Amy.
Bye, Valentine.